Hi folks, welcome back to Across the Map podcast. It's me, Sonia Mo again, and we've got someone spectacular here who will be accompanying me to talk about something that you find absolutely so much interesting. Alright, before we dive deep into our special topic today, can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for having me. This is such an amazing opportunity. So yeah, my name is Madari Tongunda. My friends call me Maddie, so you can call me Maddie as well. I am a Shabana.
Shout out to all Shabaners.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone already knows what Shabaning is. It's this global scholarship that funds a one-year master's study. And I am here in the UK at the University of East Anglia studying agriculture and rural development masters. And this is such a passionate area for me because I've been working with smallholder farmers back in Malawi for the past 5 years. But basically what we've been doing is just trying to build knowledge on how best farmers can adapt to the changing climate and how they can find farming still very much productive whilst protecting the environment. And that is such an area of focus for me and passion for me.
Alright, so listeners, please stay tuned until the end of this podcast because you will absolutely find all much insights from this conversation. Alright, let's get started. So today's topic will be about environmental education in rural communities, and we've got Maddie here to guide us to talk much more about it. And so Maddie, how do you find the environmental issue or the climate change these days? Because some people do not believe with climate change is real, but we do feel the impact nowadays. What do you say about that?
First thing is, there's a lot of skepticism about climate change, but for me, I think that's such a crazy thing to say because we feel climate is changing every day. I mean, how it was 5 years ago is not the same as it is right now. Sure. So definitely, the first thing that I would say is climate change is happening and it is here, and we have to do something about it. So for me, I would say that working with rural communities has been very important because they feel the effects of climate change even more, especially rural farmers. So Malawi is like one of the countries that experiences extreme, climate change shocks. So, the issue of climate change is such an important thing because over 80% of Malawians are smallholder farmers and they rely on rain-fed agriculture. And when weather and rain and climate is impacted, or rain is impacted in a sense, that affects the entire agriculture production system. So it's definitely something we need to talk about.
It's something important.
Absolutely.
So for those of you who do not believe in climate change as well, what will you say?
It is definitely real. It is definitely real. Let's talk about it.
Yes, let's talk about it.
We are here and you need to listen to
Yes. So Maddie, you have told me about your working on several communities in villages in Malawi. And then what is a typical village like in Malawi?
That's a very interesting one. So, if the first thing I would say is it's hot. Malawi is a tropical country, semi-arid, so it's very hot. You find, poor infrastructure development. So what you'd normally expect, I think, from a village, not much going on, a lot of agricultural activities. So what I would say is a lot of livelihoods are also farm based, so they depend on agriculture for their day-to-day livelihood. They also rely on firewood, charcoal for cooking and things like that.
I think it has a similarity with Indonesia villages and communities because we've got rice fields, smallholder farming, and similar pressures on land. Moreover, I think because I think the big difference is Indonesia has a lot of islands, so we've got a lot of seas, and it's referers and etc.
That's why it's
So
rice.
yeah.
Rice is the staple. Okay.
All right, so let's get into the next topic. How is environmental education actually happening in villages?
So we have two systems. We have formal and informal. But if you ask me about villages, it's mostly informal. The only formal aspect of education is through school learning, and it's heavily theory based, and it's not practical. It doesn't go beyond issues to do with how important are trees. That is it. But in terms of like informal, that's where you have NGOs coming in, technical experts. As I was working in the same field, coming in to create social groups where we teach farmers, and people living in communities how best they can, manage their natural resources for future. So we teach them issues to do with tree planting, which tree seedlings are best suited for which agroecological zones, and it's just like that.
Sure. So compared to Indonesia as well, we've got less environmental education, and most of them are classroom based and less in practical. So when you see people how do you say, with the trees, working with the trees? You can say they save the planet. Yes, they save the planet, but environmental issues is not about the trees itself.
Absolutely.
How could you say about that?
Absolutely. So for me, like natural resource management is a lot of things. It's knowledge-based systems. It's practical ways of making sure that your ecosystem is restored. So for me, like working in this field, I would say the important things are understanding what your environment is, understanding what the environment needs, and how your human activities affect that sort of ecosystem in itself. So you see a lot of Malawians involved in deforestation, for example, yet they also depend on the same natural ecosystem for their day-to-day activities. So it's understanding what those impacts have on your system, like ecosystem, but also on your livelihood in future terms.
All right. That's interesting. So there was a tension between the needs and then the things that you are advocating.
Absolutely.
So what are the main obstacles when you are working on this particular issue?
So the main obstacles is definitely number one, knowledge, which is a critical thing. I think we always think people know what they're supposed to do and how what they're doing affects them. But you find that in our work, you realize a lot of people do not know the impacts of their activities. So for example, let's go back to deforestation, for example. People cut down trees to make firewood, and they believe that this firewood is useful for their day-to-day activities, cooking and all of that stuff. But they do not realize that the more they cut down trees, the more the climate is changing. And they do not realize that if they plant a tree where they've cut down one, it's a more sustainable way. But people leave these sort of actions for other people. So that is where knowledge systems have to come in. Teaching each other that the actions that we take can impact our lives is very, very critical.
Sure. So some people, I heard some people say who is to blame when it comes to environmental climate change.
That is a very. This is where the skepticism also starts. People are gonna say blame it on the one who's cutting down the trees. Another person is saying blame it on the one who's making the policies on who cuts down trees, or what are the alternatives for these people who are cutting down trees. But I would say it's the blame has to go to all of us. Because everyone
all of us.
All of us have to take the blame, and I'm only saying this because if you take responsibility, on the actions that you're doing, you also take the responsibility of creating a solution.
Sure.
And if we say a solution needs to come from the government, which is top down, then it will not be sustainable. If we say the solution only has to come, from the grassroots, which are the communities, which is bottom up, it will again not be sustainable. So everyone has a role to play. Governments and institutions have to create spaces where they hear the voices of the local people, what they need, what they're lacking, and what alternatives they can bring in for these people people to rely on. If they're saying, deforestation is bad, what is the alternative solution for these people who rely on deforestation? What are the governments doing to them? And even for the people, they need to also create solutions as well on this.
So
matter.
each solution has come to each level, a different level.
A different levels.
An approach.
Absolutely.
Yes,
An
yes.
integrated
So
approach.
yeah. So when it comes to changing behavior, it takes a lot of time because when you do education stuff, people do not change immediately.
Oh, absolutely.
So how do you come with this reality?
Absolutely. Behavior change, it takes a while. But again, it's also coming to an understanding that you have to do a continuous sort of learning to actually change someone's behavior. So there's two approaches to this. You have to do the continuous learning process, to change someone's behavior, but you also have to tackle behavior change from the onset. And what I mean by this is we have a strategy where we teach young people and young generations to take responsibility over the environment, to understand what is the environment and how it helps them in their day-to-day. So this is basically, teaching young people how to plant trees, teaching young people not only how this classroom-based sort of learning, like a tree is important because it's also firewood, it's also income, but teaching them practically how to plant a tree, how to manage for it, and what that means for the future. That is critical as well.
Important. Yeah. So we save the next generation because elderly sometimes cannot be educated. I didn't.
Oh my God! Please cut that out. The elderly can be educated, but it's very difficult.
It's very difficult.
It is very difficult because culture has a key, play in this.
Yeah.
It's so hard to change.
And it's embedded.
It is embedded. It's
in
like
the
layers and layers of knowledge and years of practice. It's very hard.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So, all right, I think we've been talking for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I think we need more time.
Yeah.
Maybe there might be second part of this conversation.
Please, can you comment on this? Like, if you need more expertise from Malawi. Yeah.
All right. Do you have something to say for maybe what should we do in individual level to contribute to the making environment becoming the better place to live and as the not only the individual but the community and the policy making levels. What do you want to say?
Holistically, I can say that small steps are the beginning of change. I think sometimes we think that we need to do a big thing, to make a big change. But it's the small things that matter. So I would say, you see a person cutting down a tree, you can advocate, for a change in that sort of system. You can see, maybe litter somewhere because environmental, conservation is not just about, cutting down trees, it's the whole thing. You can introduce a recycling system. You can literally pick up that particular trash and throw it in the bin. You can be someone who has, a family, and you can teach your family what environmental education is, or what environmental or natural resource management is. You can plant a tree in your garden. In your home. It's the little steps. You can be a professor, and you can even be like a student. You can teach your fellow students about why planting trees is important, taking care of the environment is important. So use the resources that you have, use the platforms that you have, like this one, the way Sonia is doing, to teach people and to advocate for change in terms of like how to conserve and how to protect the environment better. Yeah,
sure. Maybe can you please tell people about one thing in your daily practice that you have been starting? About saving the planet or the environment and becoming a better place.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So first of all, I take walks a lot. In nature, it's very important. It's important for your health, but it also allows you to appreciate
the
nature and the environment. Yeah, because there's so many things to appreciate out there. And another thing that I would say that I do is I have a garden back home, and this allows me to grow my own food, yes, but also allows me to protect the environment by using good agronomic practices, like regenerative practices instead of like using chemicals that affect the environment, I use more organic sort of, you know, ways of growing things. I plant my own trees as well. So like this past growing season, when I was home, I planted 10 trees in my backyard. So it's literally those small things. Those 10 trees are being taken care of, and they're also contributing to the environment. So yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah. So you guys have heard about the things, practical things that we can do as an individual to contribute to the environmental issues, so that we can save the planet. Alright guys, thank you for watching till the end, and I would just want to say environmental education must connect to daily life, not just classrooms.
Absolutely.
And it starts with us as individual, and small things matter.
Small things.
Thank you guys for watching, and see you!